drawing an illustration for an atomic structure, this is a very simplified representation. So you start with your nucleus. For if this were carbon, it would have 6 protons and 6 neutrons. And then you start filling in our shells of electrons. They're called shells or electron clouds. They look like rings. That the first ring, the ring most close to the nucleus, will fill up with 2 electrons. And then each ring after that first ring of electrons wants to fill up with 8. But considering that this carbon only has 6 electrons, we only need 4 more electrons placed about the nucleus. Once again, this is just a representation to give you some clarity of how electrons go about the nucleus. Let's take a look at sulfur. It has an atomic number of 16 and a weight of 32. That first ring only has 2 electrons. Each ring after that first ring can fill up to 8 electrons. This is the octet rule. So my next ring can have 8 electrons. When drawing these structures, the first ring will have 2 electrons, the next will have 8, and then the outermost ring will have the remaining electrons, totaling up to 16 electrons. The outermost ring of electrons, or the electrons furthest from the nucleus, is called the valence. Valence wants 8 electrons. The valence is the outermost area of electrons. Now, I wrote outermost electron cloud. The valence describes electrons most furthest away from the nucleus. I don't want to keep calling it a ring because a ring gets your mind set on that one particular round structure. Electrons float about the nucleus in what's called an orbital, and it's no set defined shape, and we'll discuss some of these shapes. When talking about chemistry, chemistry is all about mixing and combining elements to create new things, and the way atoms mix together is that they will either share electrons, they will either take electrons, or they'll give electrons away. The octet rule states that the outermost shell of electron, it wants 8 electrons. So sulfur has 6 electrons in its valence right now. So if sulfur were to react with another compound, he will want to take 2 electrons. Let's consider an illustration for sodium. Sodium has an atomic number of 11 and atomic weight of 22.9. My first shell will only have 2 electrons, and then the next one will have 8, which gives me 10 electrons, and then I need 11 electrons, so my valence will only have 1 electron. As I was telling you, sulfur has 6 in the valence, therefore he will accept 2 electrons when he reacts. When sodium reacts, he will donate this 1 electron because the next ring down, next shell of electrons down, has 8, and it will obey the octet rule.